how Kendrick Lamar just revealed the next album is dropping. Hey yo, this year for hip hop has been something else, man. Something else to say the least. Kendrick dropped a banger last week. I'm not gonna lie, GNX, I'll rate it 7 out of 10. It's pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? Pretty good vibes on it. Good vibes. And then we got Drake. Drake had his songs that I liked out of Drake this year. Circadian Rhythms. Obviously the diss track was cool. I think that was it, to be honest. I don't think I liked any. No Face was I reacted to that. But overall, this been a good year for hip hop. I've seen all the BS that's been happening, you know what I mean? The Dre dropping the petition, which, okay, we'll see how that goes. I don't really, I see the spiraling on Twitter and I'll be contributing. Hey yo, if you want to see me crash out, go on my Twitter right now. Be crashing out on the daily. I keep it, you know what I mean, peaceful, you know what I mean, based though. You feel me? Because I do like Drake's music. I like some of his music. Some of his music I be bumping at the gym, you feel me? Can't lie. Kendrick, he obviously, I just think he's way better, in my opinion. I've always thought that, so you know what I mean, I'm gonna keep, you know what I mean, Rock That Murals. That was a really good intro. I was going back to that today, man. Like that intro, he's talking his bro. We about to see if you're an OG Dot fan, you knew for a fact, first listen through, you knew Kendrick is not ending with 12 songs. Have the GNX trailer with that fire ass, that trailer, man. I ain't gonna lie, when that beat dropped, that little beat drop like that, bro, I was like, hey, where was this on the album? You know what I'm saying? But then I realized, yeah, no, this man got more. There's more to come. We about to see fantastic hip hop. Let's check out what they gotta say. This man been dropping videos every second, man. I'm about to see what you gotta say about this. Subscribe if you new, man. I'm about to be uploading every single day this month, whether it's Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, whatever it is, I'm dropping it. I'm reacting this month, man. I've been slacking a little bit, so let's see what's up, man.
Despite how Drake has tried to tear down Kendrick Lamar's current album release by attempting to make this moment about him. And regardless of the fact that GNX is an album that reaches such a high bar both in success and quality that for most rappers and musicians, this type of record would be enough for them to be able to rest for the foreseeable future. With both the response that is coming from this record and with all of the drama that people like Drake and even Lil Wayne have been creating because of it, this seems to be only ramping up Kendrick Lamar's plans for the immediate future even more, because after leaving behind subtle hints through his entire GNX album, and all through the branding and rollout of the project itself, we have now gotten even more confirmation about what is next for Kendrick and when these next moments may be going down to create another rift in music culture like nobody else can at the moment. And now before we go any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. And so now when it comes to the current state of Kendrick Lamar's entire career really, while everyone who's checked in reality is praising GNX and the album has a ton of replay value, which is going to give it an extremely long run on the charts, both in terms of total album sales and when it comes to having major hits.
I've been seeing the crash outs on Twitter saying there's no replay value, and you know what I mean, music is subjective. If you don't like the album, you don't like it. I've had my boys say it's mid. I've had some people, you know what I mean, I'm East Coast, so I expect it, you know what I mean? I'm literally right next to New York, so it's like expected here. But I really like the album. I enjoyed the album. The album was it had some bangers. Reincarnated, you feel me? Hard Part 6 was one of my favorites. EV Off is a slap. Yo, it was nothing but bangers, man. Nothing but bangers, I'm not even gonna lie. But you know what I mean, music is subjective. Some people say it was trash, and then you got the people comparing numbers. But it's funny because this is a surprise drop, you know what I mean? To get 300K on a surprise drop, like literally a 30-minute album rollout, and then he just dropped it and it did 300K. That's telling, bro. That is. Now if you go back to Damn, when he released Humble, that was the album rollout, you know what I mean? And he even made the Hard Part 4, you know what I mean? So he dropped Humble. A month later, the first week sales were 600K. And that was 2017. This man is right now in his prime. So the numbers when he actually, that's, people, I don't even care about the crash outs on Twitter, bro. It's beautiful to see. You know what I mean? The love and hate he'd been talking about. You gonna receive both. You have to receive both. It's just how it's always been.
Long run on the charts, both in terms of total album sales and when it comes to having major hits. Now what we have found out further and further is that as this album has made a greater impact, and despite being released so late in this historic year in hip-hop, that it's breaking massive records, which even have gone as far as doing such things like already outstreaming the entirety of J. Cole's Might Delete Later project in just a week. Is that for Kendrick Lamar? GNX is nowhere near the endpoint of what he is doing, and that it's really the start of an entire new era from him. And just like a lot of the songs and subject matter on this album talks about, it's really the start and reincarnation of an entire new era for him. Because where when this album first came out, some people who have been near Kendrick were talking about the fact that he may have more on the way, now sources that are directly connected to Kendrick, PG Lang, and Top Dawg Entertainment have really and definitively confirmed that he is not done. As on Live recently, none other than the already super credible source in the West Coast's very own DJ Head was speaking to none other than not just any member of TDE, but the guy who Kendrick Lamar looked up to in terms of his rapping ability when they were coming up, and someone who has continued to be close to him all the way to the point where he was a focal point on GNX's Hard Part 6 track in none other than Absol. And as these two chatted on Live and went to the topic of where Kendrick Lamar is at and where he is going from here, as Absol was praising his good friend Kendrick for everything that he is doing right now, DJ had finished off their conversation saying some important words which read as, "I will say this, the homie ain't done. This is what Kendrick is on. You can take that however you want." And I mean, as Absol jumped right on board with what Head was saying here. More than any other West Coast rappers or people who maybe ended up in a few studio sessions with Kendrick Lamar, man.
I think he's gonna, bro, that, again, going back to that GNX trailer, well, that's probably harder than anything that's on that album. You feel me? Like, that trailer itself, man. He always does this. He actually did this with, when Not Like Us came out. Little snippet. GNX, it was a snippet to a trailer. This album was a trailer. Like this whole album was just a trailer to the real album. That's who is doing this, man. Who is doing this? Please tell me. This is another level of like, Jesus, man. Yo, Kendrick.
This is without a doubt the biggest confirmation we have heard about the fact that Kendrick is going to be dropping something even bigger than this, but the information doesn't stop here. Because another thing that's important to note is that aside from just another album, which Kendrick has now hinted at and others have seemingly confirmed, which we are going to get into even bigger news about that later, some other rappers who have been featured on GNX have done interviews after the album dropped, and the comments that stuck out most from all of these was most notably from an interview with Lefty, who's featured on the absolute banger of TV Off, and he said he heard Kendrick Lamar has a deluxe album. And now with these comments, which are saying that Kendrick Lamar is not even done with the GNX era itself. This is interesting and it could be promising, but again, it's important to note that we know these rappers have been in the studio in some capacity and created alongside Kendrick, but really with how Kendrick Lamar works and how a lot of the local rappers who are featured on these albums have been talking, despite the fact that they are on this record and a lot of them had great verses. I don't think these guys know what Kendrick Lamar's plan is, but I think what we can assume with from here is that he probably heard more music from Kendrick that didn't end up being on the actual GNX album. And based on the quality of what he heard and the conversations that were going on in the studio, he seemingly knows that there is some other music dropping. But with this idea of a deluxe, with all the info out there, there is just not enough to confirm this yet, unless the second car in the GNX trailer video is meant to indicate to the fact that there is just
You got the second car, like that's, you feel me? That's not there for no reason, bro. I like how he drops these little hints, these little Easter eggs, bro. It really brings back like the spirit and music, man. Like, no one else is doing this. Literally, there's nobody else doing it. Nobody that's actually, so it's like watching it in real time and giving people content. You know what I mean? Literal content. It's why I say Kendrick's the GOAT. I've been saying this before the beef. Like, literally before the beef. You can go check out my other reactions. Ain't nobody having a run like this, man. Ain't nobody having a run where, you know what I mean? And everyone's gonna keep on saying that Drake is the one that made his career, all that. If you didn't know Kendrick Lamar before, if you didn't know what he was doing before, the work he was putting in before, it's whatever, man. It just shows you weren't really paying attention, but it's alright. Cause you're gonna pay attention now. You gonna learn, man. I feel like everyone's just gonna have their mouth shut when this beauty's about it. Man. Nah, you're always gonna have haters. You're always gonna have haters no matter what. It's always gonna be, they're always going to be there. Just remember that.
Just another half to GNX, and that the next album Kendrick Lamar is going to be releasing outside of this era is just a whole entire other thing. But really, this seems to be unlikely because when we listen to GNX start to finish,
I need a King
despite
Kunta.
lines where Kendrick is saying
I'm sorry, I need a King Kunta in there, man. I need one. Yeah, bro, it's the holidays. It's December. It's my birthday month, bro. I'm turning 21. Like, we gotta get lit, bro. We gotta get lit. We have to be lit. We have to be lit, man.
Something like Double Back like a deluxe, which even with that just feels way too on the head to be revealing that an actual deluxe album is coming. Beyond any comments or speculation, just from the fact alone that The Heart Part 6 is on this record, which in the history of these grand Kendrick Lamar albums, the Heart series has always dropped right before a major album release, and whenever it comes out, that means that we are not going to hear Kendrick Lamar on a song until the next album it's setting up releases. Overall, based on the 5 past installments of this series and how they have set up the albums that have dropped after them, more songs just adding on to this album, which already seems to be complete and perfect for what it is, just doesn't seem likely. It really would be a contradiction to everything Kendrick has done in the past. But now, while we're probably not going to see a GNX Deluxe, back to this second album from Kendrick Lamar. The biggest piece of news that we have found out about this record, beyond comments from Kendrick's own camp, has come from somebody who has major media sources and connections within the industry in none other than one of the faces in rap media with Joe Budden. And now on one of the most recent episodes of his podcast, Budden revealed a lot of insider information that has been filling in the gaps to stuff we just didn't know in this entire moment in time in hip-hop, which included on someone like Drake's end, revealing that the reason why him and Metro Boomin started beefing in the first place was because Drake said something super disrespectful about his mother, and when it came to how GNX was received by other rappers. Budden also broke the news that Lil Wayne tried to call up Kendrick after being mentioned on the intro track of the album Whacked Out Murals, and when Kendrick didn't answer, Wayne went into the studio to record something. And now, on top of major info reveals like this,
I don't think Lil Wayne is that dumb. To be honest, like, you should know when your time is up. But I know, like, through the tweet, obviously he put out, it looked like that way. But like, come on, man, like, you gotta have people. He has good people around him. I don't think he has idiots around him, but you never know. He could very well be in a booth. At most he'll probably drop something when he drops his album, the Carter 6. Pretty sure there'll be some lines for Kendrick there, some sub disses, but I don't think he's gonna actually go in a booth and like actually be on a rap battle with Kendrick. Nah, I don't see that happening. Nah, sorry.
What Joe and other members of the pod who know people all around the hip-hop and music industry and who have been within circles near Kendrick have been saying is that they heard some snippets and small moments of music that Kendrick Lamar is working on that were not on GNX, and they alluded to the fact that if we thought GNX is amazing, that this upcoming next album from Kendrick is going to blow our minds, because from the ground up on this record, where GNX is an album that is leaning more than Kendrick Lamar.
Sorry for pausing, I'm trying to tell my boys, man, like I'm trying to tell, like, they're so, oh my gosh, GNX is mid. Because they listen to Kendrick and they're in a minded state where it's like, yo, why wasn't this a Damn? Why wasn't this a Good Kid, Mad City? This is kind of mid. And the first listen, I was like, yeah, nah, this doesn't sound like anything like that. Even though there were straight bangers, it wasn't on that level. But I was just like, bro, do you guys really think Kendrick is just gonna drop this? Like, you really think the main line that everyone remembers off his album is Mustard? Like, you really think he's just gonna end off and just leave for five more years, bro? No, it's not. That wasn't his last app, bro. He's like, I was just like, come on, man. But you know what I mean, I know they're trolling. Most of them are just trolling. And to the Twitter idiots out there, bro, you're about to, man, we about to eat, bro. We about to eat.
Lamar ever has into his West Coast sound. What Kendrick Lamar is working on with this next record does not sound like it is from a particular region or place, and really it sounds like nothing we have ever heard at all, as it's instead embodying whatever he needs to in order to make what maybe could even become his best project ever if it lives up to anywhere near how hyped up it is. And so now with all of this information, while in this era we are at, we can't take what any one person says and trust it as fact. This all aligns with not just what seems likely, but when we look at the snippet of the song that Kendrick Lamar previewed in the GNX rollout trailer, this multi-layered track from Kendrick sounds like just what they have heard and described is all about, as where everything on GNX clearly is built with the West Coast influence in mind, from the beats to the features to even the concepts and stories being told on some of the narratively deeper tracks. This unnamed song Kendrick Lamar played sounds like nothing else that we saw on the actual GNX album. It really sounds like something way greater and more musically expansive than one region embodies. And so with all of this information, on some level and as much as we can for a rapper as mysterious as Kendrick Lamar, we do know a good deal about what this next album for him is going to be like and how it's going to feel and sound to an extent. And so with everything we know, from all of the signals and hints that Kendrick Lamar left himself, from the news about what industry insiders have heard, and the mere fact that The Heart Part 6 is on GNX, and that we all know, whenever an installment of the Heart series releases, there is an album right after to follow it. Overall, based on everything we know and where the industry is headed, As it's now the end of the year, and this time is known for the music industry just to sit back and take off for a few weeks, with a release that, even despite how free and uncontrolled Kendrick Lamar works, has so much at stake for the entire music business and hip-hop world, I don't think we are going to see Kendrick Lamar drop another album this soon, because aside from anything else, what we know for a fact is that GNX also is an album that has power of its own and is going to dominate the charts in this time where no other music can even come close to creating the type of impact it has right now. But if Kendrick is not going to release in December, this then leaves us in January, and in the month leading up to the Super Bowl and also the Grammys, this is where things really get interesting, because we know Kendrick Lamar is going to have the biggest moment of his career in terms of the viewership on him at this halftime show, and this would really be the perfect moment to just capture the most hype artists really can ever get. And based on records that have been inside the industry, he also
he's on a generational run for, like, a lot of people that don't realize it yet. They're gonna look back and they're gonna be like, damn, like, that nigga was really up. And this album, I just can't wait to hear this album, honestly. Again, that little snippet sounded better than everything that was on the GNX album. Keeping a beat. If you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to it.
Also know that Kendrick Lamar is planning a stadium tour for this summer, and that is running dates that will overlap around the same time that Coachella 2025 will, which is in April. So now, knowing what is going on for Kendrick in 2025, and knowing that when it comes to touring, artists like to wait a few months to build hype, prepare, and let fans just know and understand their new work when they are playing it live, I think Kendrick is due for this groundbreaking and ambitious album to drop right around the winter, and really based on where everything is heading. And also knowing how, due to the fact that he has beaten Drake in every way possible, Kendrick has been handed the keys by the industry as the leader of rap as a business, in addition to the people letting him lead things forward as an art form. I think we are going to see Kendrick come out around the end of January and early February, and he is going to release a major single that is going to be maybe even a bigger hit, or just as big as Not Like Us, and then right after the Super Bowl, with the hype of his 2024, the halftime show, and then a new hit single, we will then get this groundbreaking album. And we probably won't even have an official rollout, because the Super Bowl is going to be a big enough moment, and the excitement of all of that will really be enough to propel Kendrick Lamar to have the biggest album release that hip-hop has seen in at least the last decade, but maybe even longer than that. But overall, with everything we know about this second and way more ambitious and large-scale album from Kendrick Lamar, what's clear is that when this record drops, if we thought the release and reaction to GNX was next level, this album is going to be one of the biggest moments we ever witness as not just hip-hop but music fans. And so now, with all that said, let me know, what do you think about everything going around about this second Kendrick Lamar album, and what are your expectations for it?
I'm saying 800 first week. Go back to this video if I'm wrong. Comment that I was wrong. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Everything he just said, I think it's gonna be factual. I think he's gonna drop, just like he did with Humble, he's gonna drop a banger hit single for 1 month straight, which is gonna be around January. So around New Year's, he's gonna drop a hit single. This is what I'm saying. And then drops his album after the Super Bowl. And yeah, after that, it's kind of, this is a crazy run. I'm speechless, man. I've been saying this man is just not to be fucked with. He stole this man's fans. He really stole a portion of Drake's fans. Obviously, Drake got his core fan base, but it's looking like shit just swapped. Literally, like, it's crazy. I'm gonna be uploading every single day this month. Drop a follow on the Twitter to help your boy out. We trying to get to 300 followers by the end of the year. I'm gonna be posting some clips of everything, like what I'm doing here, what I'm doing over there, and content related, you feel me? So go check out the Twitter. Subscribe if you new. Your boy is grinding. You should be too. It's been your boy Ray, signing out. Peace.